We start in the US, where the countdown to the 2024 presidential election has already begun. Republicans are choosing their nominee to run for president in the Iowa caucuses on Monday. While former President Donald Trump is way ahead in opinion polls, a close contest for second place is expected. Former North Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is attempting to stay ahead of Florida Governor Ron de Santis. Washington Bureau Chief Ines Pohl is in Iowa and sent this report.
The world is watching the state in the heartland of the US today. It's only hours away until the Republicans start caucusing to find out whom they want to pick as their party's frontrunner in the presidential elections. This might be the coldest caucus in history, with minus 30 degrees Celsius. The big question is, how will this affect the turnout? Will people rather stay home in their warm homes instead of going out in caucus? And which candidate will suffer most? Will it be Nikki Haley? Will it be Ron de Santis? Or will it be Donald Trump? What is it that Republicans care about? And whom do they like? Why? And do they like them enough to come out even in this weather?
I think Nikki Haley will come in second.
If I had to guess, it'd be Nikki Haley, just because she's had the most exposure.
She's tough on the border. She doesn't have the extremities of Donald Trump. She's more rational. And she's a child of immigrants.
I have a feeling the outcome is going to be overwhelmingly in support of Trump.
The polls are wrong. We often see these polls and they think that the mainstream media is going to be able to decide who's going to be elected. And I've been through a lot of Iowa caucuses, and there's always a surprise.
There's little doubt that Donald Trump will be the frontrunner. The crucial question is if former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley can finish ahead of Florida's Governor Ron de Santis, effectively ending his run tonight. This would leave Republicans a choice between Trump and Haley, and a race for the nomination open to more surprises than initially predicted.
Let's join our correspondent, Janelle Dumalaon, who is freezing there, so you don't have to. Welcome, Janelle. Is Nikki Haley really expected to outpace Ron de Santis?
Well, the closely watched Des Moines Register poll that came out over the weekend puts Trump solidly in first place at 48%, Nikki Haley in second place at 20%, and Ron de Santis in third at 16%. But you hit upon something really important there, Phil. The most important aspect of this Iowa caucus is the race for second place. It is down to Haley and de Santis. It's worth noting that de Santis really went all in on Iowa. He visited all 99 counties. Nikki Haley started organizing here much later, but got very important funding from donors and outspent de Santis on ads. Now, what she is hoping for is that she finishes strong ahead of de Santis, and that telegraphs to voters that she has momentum in her campaign, and that signal to voters will help her narrow Trump's lead over her in New Hampshire, where she has been gaining. And then that takes us to South Carolina, which of course is her home state. There she wishes to win the primaries. She's not currently leading there, but who knows, things can change. But if that happens, then you can see how, from her perspective, her path to the Republican nomination isn't impossible. But then again, there are polls and there's reality, and that's why these Iowa caucuses are so fascinating to watch, even in this weather, Phil.
Right, well, let's talk about the weather. How is all that snow and cold likely to affect turnout?
Goodness, well, you know, with temperatures expected to reach nearly minus 30 degrees Celsius here, it really is very, very cold. We've been talking to a lot of Iowans who are, in fact, used to harsh winters, but even for them, this is freezing. And it's not hard to imagine that only the caucus goers most enthused about their candidates will make it out tonight to caucus. These are simply life-threatening weather conditions, Phil. We saw so many vehicles on the snowy roadsides that were overturned or simply stuck. It is simply going to be very hard for many people to get out there. Before these weather conditions, the turnout was expected at 200,000, but because of this weather, that is looking very ambitious now, and candidates are palpably concerned that their voters won't come out to support them. Now, It's not clear, however, who these conditions will hurt or benefit. There's this theory that because Donald Trump supporters are so confident of his lead, that they might actually stay home and leave the caucusing to others. And of course, that would make his lead smaller than expected. There's another theory that Nikki Haley could stand to benefit because most of her supporters are in urban areas and are closer to the caucus precinct areas. But nobody knows for sure. And suffice to say, this weather has really upended expectations for the voter turnout for this Iowa caucuses this time around.
Okay, thank you for that, Janelle. Janelle Dumalaon in Iowa.